You know, Greg's in medicine too, Larry.
Oh, really? Yeah. What field?
Nursing.
That's good.
No, really, what field?
Nursing.
Oh my goodness. Introducing your love interest to your parents can go south really quickly if the timing's not right. So could this holiday be the perfect venue to make this introduction? Well, relationship expert Jennifer Stiers has the do's and don'ts that come with this. The do's and don'ts. There are do's and don'ts to this?
There are do's and don'ts to everything, right?
Because I had to go through this with my now husband, and the first time I met his parents was shortly after we started dating on Thanksgiving. Now, was that smart, or should we have done
That's
something
a big
different?
deal. That's a big deal on the holidays, right?
Yeah, so tell me about this a little bit.
Well, introducing, somebody to your parents is always a big deal. Like, whenever you do it, it's, you want it to be special, but over the holidays can be really, really stressful, as
because everyone's already stressed out, and then you're introducing a new person into the mix.
Absolutely. And I think the other element that plays in is all the dysfunction in families.
And everybody has it.
Everybody has it. I mean, there's actually a study out, which is really interesting, to say that everybody has dysfunction, and it's becoming like commonplace. Like, people don't even mind anymore talking about it. Like, it's dinner conversation now.
I know it is in our house.
But the problem is during the holidays it comes out more.
Sure.
Like, people, it's just exaggerated, and a lot of times we get so used to it that we don't realize that we're introducing somebody else into our stuff, into craziness.
And could that actually like turn your potential mate off from your family if you're too dysfunctional?
I have seen it a ton of times, especially men. It's interesting how women are just a little more tolerant of it, but I have seen men many, many times that leave a family function and they say, I'm not sure. I'm not sure anymore. And we do need to take that into account, because there are a couple things like depression, any kind of mental illness, alcoholism, all of those things run in the family. So you go to a family function, you see all that. It's all out there.
Well, what are some of your tips? Let's talk about some of your tips. If you decide this is the time to take that special person home, what are some of your tips for kind of making things go with the flow?
I think first and foremost, the very first tip is make sure you're serious. It's a big deal. I mean, I don't think people always realize what a big deal meeting the parents is. And it's a big deal, especially for you guys. It means commitments for guys, And I think also to family traditions, and you probably ran into it as well when you went to meet your boyfriend's or your husband now.
My now husband, right.
But there's traditions in families. How do they dress for the holidays? Are there any, like the Meet the Parents was such a great story, because, Greg was Jewish and he had to come out and say a prayer. He said, why don't you say grace? And he's like, He's
like, we don't do that.
So, but just planning ahead of time for those things really helps.
Isn't that a good conversation to have with your mate before you even walk into that door, like maybe weeks in advance, so you can start planning and being prepared?
Absolutely, because then it becomes a laughing matter when Uncle George is drunk, and doing his thing, because we're prepared for it. So you just kind of brief your partner on that, so it becomes humorous instead of something that is traumatic.
And what about like sleeping arrangements and stuff? That's always quite the issue, right? Like, do you stay at your potential in-laws' house overnight in separate rooms on a couch? What do you do?
Well, you follow the rules of the house. You follow the rules of the house, and you need to know the values, regardless of how you're living your life. Even if you're, like even that movie, you're living together. You follow the rules of the house and the parents. So what values do the parents have? Do they drink? Drinking is a big...
Don't show up with a bottle of wine if your in-laws don't, or the guy's parents don't drink, right?
Absolutely. And, talking about alcohol, watch your alcohol intake. I mean, for
probably a good idea.
I mean, that would be a really good idea as well. But yeah, you kind of want to be briefed on all of that. And I think the other thing that's really important too is to make sure that your partner's ready.
Sure.
I mean, it's a big deal to meet parents.
Sure.
And make sure your partner's ready and willing, because he or she is going to be on stage. I mean, everybody's watching.
Maybe not bring up those hot topics of like politics and religion at the table. Probably a good idea.
Absolutely. Brief them on that, but also talk as a couple. Like, what are we going to talk about? What do we want to tell everybody?
Well, we made it. We did all the right stuff, I guess, 12 years and counting. And you can head to our website at thebroadcasttv.com for the link to Jennifer Stiers' website. That was great. Thank you so much. Coming up next, it's gorgeous ideas to add to your gift-giving shopping list. Gary Riggs joins us with these just-in-time holiday suggestions. Stay with us.